Throughout history, evil has taken many forms, from whispered legends of black magic to the calculated cruelty of modern monsters. Across centuries, humanity has struggled to understand what drives a person to destroy life so brutally. These are the stories of the worst serial killers in every era, from the High Middle Ages to the 21st century, individuals whose crimes shaped the darkest chapters of true crime history. During the High Middle Ages, superstition ruled much of Europe's dark history. Among its most feared figures was Peter Niers, one of the earliest and most terrifying serial killers on record. He confessed to murdering 544 people, though many believe the number was inflated under torture. What made him infamous wasn't the count, but who he killed and how. Niers targeted travelers, villagers, and pregnant women. At least 24 of his victims were unborn babies, taken from the womb as part of black magic rituals and cannibalistic spells. He belonged to a loose gang of robbers who lived outside cities and practiced witchcraft in Europe, mixing crime history with superstition. Legends claimed Niers carried a magic bag filled with fetuses, hearts, and hands, believing it made him invisible. Others said he and his followers used human fat to create candles that put people into deep sleep while they looted homes. Captured in 1577, he confessed to 75 murders under medieval torture, but escaped. Years later, authorities found his magic bag in an inn, still containing the remains of unborn children. This time, he was caught and faced one of the most brutal executions in dark history. 3 days of agony involving boiling oil, red-hot coals, and 42 blows from an iron bar before being cut apart. Though the details were likely exaggerated, Peter Niers remains a symbol of medieval crimes, where superstition and fear turned murderers into legends. As Europe entered the early modern era, fear of witches and demons still consumed society. In this world, Peter Stump, the so-called werewolf of Bedburg, became one of the most horrifying figures in European crime history. A German farmer accused of black magic, Stump claimed the devil gave him a magical belt that turned him into a wolf. Under torture, he confessed to killing 14 children and 2 pregnant women, eating their hearts, and even murdering his own son. He was also accused of incest and worshipping Satan. To the terrified townspeople, Stump wasn't a man, but a beast. Proof that witchcraft and psychopathy could coexist. His execution mirrored the brutality of his alleged crimes. His flesh torn with red-hot pincers, his arms and legs smashed with an axe, and finally, his head beheaded and burned. The authorities displayed his remains on a tall pole beside a carved wolf to warn others. Today, historians see the case as both true crime and urban legend, illustrating how media sensationalism and religious fear turned myth into reality. Peter Stump's tale marks one of the earliest intersections of psychological horror, superstition, and serial killer mythology, a story retold for centuries in dark history and true crime documentaries. By the 19th century, London had become the heart of the modern world, yet in its fog-covered alleys, a new kind of monster appeared. Known only as Jack the Ripper, this unknown killer terrorized Whitechapel, preying on poor women who worked as prostitutes. His victims' bodies showed surgical precision. Organs were missing, suggesting he had medical knowledge. Newspapers fueled public panic, giving birth to the first media frenzy in true crime history. Letters flooded in from people claiming to be the killer, but only one, the chilling "From Hell" letter, seemed authentic. It arrived with half a human kidney, the writer boasting that he had eaten the other half. 5 murders, the canonical 5, were eventually linked to him. Each involved throat slashing, mutilation, and organ removal. Thousands were questioned, dozens detained, yet the case remains unsolved. The vigilante groups that formed, the forensic investigation, and the press coverage all shaped modern policing and criminal profiling. To this day, theories abound. Doctors, artists, even royals have been accused. But the truth vanished with the London fog. Jack the Ripper remains the most famous figure in unsolved mysteries, the ghost who birthed the modern obsession with serial killers and dark psychology. Moving into the 20th century, science began to explore the mind of the killer. Yet few minds were as twisted as Albert Fish, the American known as the Gray Man. His crimes were not about numbers, but about the sheer depth of sadism and psychopathy that defined him. Born in 1870, Fish suffered severe childhood trauma in an orphanage where he was beaten and humiliated. Instead of resenting it, he learned to associate pain with pleasure, a seed of the psychological disorder that would later drive his crimes. As an adult, he worked in New York, targeting young boys, often under 6. By 1910, he began planning his first murder, inspired by sexual fantasies of mutilation. His descent into madness escalated after his wife left him and their 6 children, leading him to hear voices he believed came from God. Fish tortured himself with needles, some found lodged deep inside his pelvis on X-rays, and used a nail-studded paddle on himself. Convinced that God commanded him to kill, he saw cannibalism as a form of holy communion. His most infamous crime came in 1928 when he kidnapped Grace Budd, a 10-year-old girl, under the guise of taking her to a party. 6 years later, a horrific anonymous letter revealed the truth, leading detectives to trace him through forensic evidence. At trial, Albert Fish pleaded insanity, but the jury declared him guilty. On January 16, 1936, he was executed in the electric chair, telling witnesses, "I don't even know why I'm here." Even now, Fish stands as a prime study in forensic psychology, criminal profiling, and the darkest extremes of human psychology, proof that monsters can wear ordinary faces. Behind the Iron Curtain of the Soviet Union, another name would stain true crime history: Andrei Chikatilo, known as the Butcher of Rostov. Born amid the Ukrainian famine of the 1930s, Chikatilo endured hunger, bullying, and sexual dysfunction. As an adult, he appeared to be a respectable teacher and family man, but beneath the surface hid a sadistic predator. In 1978, he murdered his first victim, a 9-year-old girl. Police arrested another man who was forced to confess and was executed, allowing Chikatilo to kill freely for years. His victims were children, teenagers, and homeless people whom he lured with food or money before attacking them with ritualistic violence. By the 1980s, panic spread. Yet Soviet authorities refused to admit a serial killer could exist in a socialist state. The denial crippled the investigation. Finally, psychiatrist Alexander Bukhanovsky produced a revolutionary criminal profile, describing the killer almost exactly: a middle-aged, educated man with deep sexual sadism and traumatic past. Chikatilo was eventually caught in 1990 after undercover officers noticed his suspicious behavior near a railway. When confronted, he confessed to 56 murders, his statements chillingly detailed. A psychiatric evaluation found him sane enough for trial. In court, caged to protect him from enraged families, he screamed and acted insane, but experts knew it was a facade. On February 14, 1994, he was executed by gunshot. His case changed forensic investigation forever, a turning point for psychology of serial killers and criminal profiling. Andrei Chikatilo became a symbol of bureaucratic failure and the enduring power of evil in modern civilization. In modern times, evil no longer hides behind superstition, but behind charm and deceit. Colombia's Luis Alfredo Garavito, known as La Bestia, the Beast, is believed to have killed more children than any man in recorded criminal history. Between 1992 and 1999, he confessed to murdering at least 193 boys, though investigators suspect the number was far higher. His life began in poverty, scarred by abuse, alcoholism, and mental instability. To most, he seemed friendly, even religious, attending church meetings and therapy sessions. But behind that facade lay an emerging psychopath. Posing as a teacher, priest, or charity worker, he lured poor street boys with promises of gifts or work. Once isolated, he tortured and killed them. For years, authorities failed to connect the cases until investigators noticed identical patterns. Bindings, nylon cords, and alcohol bottles left near bodies. The breakthrough came in 1999 when 3 victims were found near Palmyra. Nearby evidence, prescription glasses, shoes, and burned clothing, led police to Garavito. Using forensic DNA analysis, they matched him to multiple crime scenes. Under interrogation, Garavito confessed and guided police to burial sites across the country. His sadistic detail and emotionless tone shocked investigators. Courts sentenced him to 1,853 years, later reduced to 22 years due to Colombian law limits, sparking national outrage over justice and capital punishment. In 2021, he sought early release, claiming good behavior. The court denied it. On October 12, 2023, he died in prison from illness, his name forever etched into true crime documentaries and forensic case studies. Luis Alfredo Garavito's story is a chilling reminder that even in the age of DNA evidence and modern law enforcement, the darkness of human psychology can still outpace the systems meant to stop it. From Peter Niers' medieval witchcraft to Garavito's modern brutality, these stories reveal one haunting truth: evil evolves, but it never disappears. Each era's monster reflects its fears, its failures, and its fragile understanding of justice. If history teaches anything, it's that the capacity for cruelty lies within the human heart, waiting for power, pain, or obsession to awaken it. To learn from the past, we must continue to face these horrors, study them, and remember them, not to glorify the killers, but to understand the warning they leave behind. If this journey through dark history fascinated you, keep exploring the world of true crime, forensic psychology, and unsolved mysteries, because the stories may be old, but their echoes are eternal.